This video is 10 Easter eggs, references, or callbacks you may have missed in the 5th episode of Season 7, Eastwatch. But we know that you missed none of these. Number 1. Jaime's Promise. This episode we saw a reunion between Jaime and Tyrion, and Jaime told Tyrion something familiar.
If I ever saw you again, I'd cut you in half.
This is a callback to exactly what he said to Bronn in an earlier season.
He murdered my father. If I ever see him, I'll split him in two.
Number 2. I knew your dad. You'll notice when Jon said to Jorah, "Hey, I knew your dad."
I served with your father. He was a great man.
Jorah didn't instantly respond back, "Hey, I knew your dad too." That's because Ned and Jorah had a complicated past with each other.
Now Ned Stark wants my head. He drove me from my land.
Number 3, like father, like son. Speaking of dads, we finally saw Gendry again after how many fucking seasons, and what did he have? A warhammer. This was a beautiful nod to his father, Robert Baratheon, and the warhammer he was famous for using. He even had the Baratheon antlers on it. Truly, like father, like son.
And the gods, I was strong then.
Number 4. Rowing. Still on Gendry, we actually got a super meta joke this episode. We, the fans, have been joking for years that Gendry was still rowing. Well, they decided to write that joke into the show via Davos as a fun nod to that.
Thought you might still be rowing.
Number 5. Lion and sheep. We also got an awesome callback this episode when Cersei asked Jaime, what did their dad used to always say?
Do you remember what father used to say about people?
The lion does not concern himself with the opinions of the sheep.
Tywin has in fact said this before to his children, and here's one time.
A lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of the sheep.
Number 6. A better place. This episode, Dany said the same words she said to Theon and Yara last season.
We're not going to do that. We're going to leave the world better than we found it.
Together, we will leave the world a better place than we found it.
Number 7. Jon Gendry. The Gendry-Jon meeting was just absolutely amazing, and it actually mirrored the reunion between Ned and Robert in Season 1.
You got fat.
I saw your father once at Winterfell.
I met yours. In my shop.
You're a lot leaner.
You're a lot shorter.
If we want to go a step further, the Lyanna, Robert, Ned trio is very much like the Arya, Gendry, Jon trio, with Arya, of course, being Lyanna. Another interesting layer is that yes, Jon's adopted dad was best friends with Robert, but Jon's biological dad, Rhaegar, was actually killed by Gendry's dad, Robert. Number 8. Siege of Pike. So Jorah seemed to recognize Thoros right away.
Thoros? I hardly recognized you. This is your moment.
This is because the two fought during the Greyjoy Rebellion, and they were actually the first two through the breach during the Siege of Pike.
It was a bitch of a siege.
You were first through the breach of Pike.
The second. Thoros of Myr went in alone, waving that flaming sword of his.
Which I'm sure Jorah absolutely remembers, but Thoros was so drunk off his ass he just doesn't remember any of the rebellion. Number 9. Better Men. Sadly, this episode, Sam had to leave the Citadel because he wasn't getting what he needed, and he explained to Gilly why, saying,
I'm tired of reading about the achievements of better men.
This was echoing the words of his father, the now deceased Lord Randall Tarley.
Spending your life reading about the achievements of better men.
And finally, number 10. Good fortune. When Jon left Dragonstone on his Suicide Squad fellowship mission beyond the wall, he said something to Dany.
I wish you good fortune in the wars to come, Your Grace.
This is actually a fairly popular saying in A Game of Thrones.
I wish you good fortune in the wars to come. I wish you good fortune in the wars to come.
So those were my picks, but there were a ton more this episode. So let me know in the comment section down below, which was your favorite callback, Easter egg, or reference. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and come back for more videos.